Hey guys, Mr. Smith here. Just wanted to do a little bit of an extra set of notes for you guys to have so you can look back to um, instead of just looking at the Zoom meeting as well. So I'm going to do this in a little bit more uh, different manner. I'm going to draw these out and then I'm going to describe what's being done as far as finding area and perimeter. So let's go ahead and get into this. Now, in math for 4th grade, you're going to be dealing with area and perimeter of rectangles and squares. Now, the difference between rectangles and squares, obviously, is rectangles have a length and a width, and the opposite sides are congruent. But in a square, all the sides are congruent. So that's why during the Zoom lesson, you saw an L, a W, and an S and an S. The reason why the two S's are the same is because the side lengths are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give these lengths. I'm going to call this one a length of 5, and I'm going to say here a width of 4. So I'm going to use blue and red to differentiate between area and perimeter. So for perimeter, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do in blue. And area, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do in red so you can see it a little bit better. Now, one of you, as far as units are concerned, we're going to go ahead and call these just units, like our little units we use when we're doing a base 10 blocks. But I do want to stress that it does do different units of measure. For example, feet, inches, meters, centimeters, millimeters, yards. We'll be using those. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and identify what area and perimeter are. Perimeter, ladies and gentlemen, is the overall length around the figure. So that's why I am drawing this part in blue. Area involves inside the shape, so that's why I'm doing it in red. Now, perimeter. As I mentioned earlier, we can safely assume that if this side is a length of 5, this side also has to be a length of 5. And if this side is a width of 4, this side also has to be a width of 4. I'm trying to remember where my other pen is real quickly. Just give me a moment. Is it here? No, it's not. Where did I put you? Well, I have this pen here. It just didn't look the same, so oh well. Now, with here, to find the overall length, basically it's just adding all the sides together. So to find the perimeter, you have one of two ways. You can do length plus width plus length plus width. And all you do is you substitute the numbers where they belong. So wherever you see an L, you exchange it with a 5, and wherever you see a W, you exchange with a 4. So what will happen is all you have to do is add those lengths together. So 5 plus 4 is 9, 5 plus 4 is 9, and 9 plus 9 gives you 18 units. So that means you'd have 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, 14, 18 going around. Area does something a little bit different. Area multiplies one side, one of the lengths, and one of the widths together. Oh, it's not showing. Sorry. So in this case, we're going to take the L, we're going to convert it to 5 because our L is 5, and our width is 4, and that's just like your times tables. 5 times 4 is 20. Now to go ahead and prove this to you, if I were to take my lengths and turn them into columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I know they're not going to be equal, but just bear with me. And I turn my width into 4 columns, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that means I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I have 20 little squares inside my rectangle. And when we're talking about these, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the phrase U for units. And I'm going to use a 2 at the top for square units. And you're probably wondering what this part means. That means squared. It's a little exponent you're going to start seeing later on in school, in 5th grade and so on, to designate square units. And if you're wondering where you get the term square units from, it's because when you find the area, you're looking for basically smaller squares inside the overall figure. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 squares are inside this overall rectangle. So therefore, 20 square units inside the rectangle. Going to the square, let's go ahead and give this one a length of 4. Well, if this side's 4 and it's a square, it's safe to say that this side is 4, this side is also 4, and this side is also 4. So with perimeter, once again, you're basically adding all the sides. So side length plus side length plus side length plus side length. Each side length has a measure of 4. So when added together, they give you got it, 16 units. So when dealing with area, the same thing applies. Area is exactly the same. We are using multiplication, only we're multiplying one side length times another side length. And that will give us a 4 times 4, which is 16 square units. And once again, if I do 4, so I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to cut my halves in half, and I'm going to do the same going across. Take a look at that. And if I count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, there are 16 square units inside that square. And that's how you would do that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you a little bit of a practice you can do at home. We'll give this one a length of 6, and we'll give this a width of 4. And for your square, you will have a side length of, let's go ahead and say, let's give it 6. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stay quiet for about 5 seconds, so that way you can practice area and perimeter of these figures on your own, and then you can come back and check. Alright, welcome back. Let's go ahead and get into these. So, using perimeter, it's safe to say that if this is 6, and you know what, let's go ahead and give these let's give these actual units. We'll call these, so you can see what I mean by as far as units of measure. I'll call this rectangle inches, and I'll call this in centimeters. I apologize for that, but you can add that in, and I'll explain what we're going to do. So, if this is 6 inches, it's safe to say that this side is also 6 inches, because rectangles have congruent opposite sides. If this side has a width of 4 inches, then this side also has to have a length of 4 inches. So if we refer back to our perimeter notes, we have length plus width plus length plus width. So once again, perimeter is equal to length plus width plus length plus width. So wherever I see an L, I'm going to exchange it for a 6. And where I see a W, I'm going to exchange it with 4. So when adding those all together, 10 and 10, that'll give me 20 inches for the perimeter. Now for the area, area is simply your length times your width. So we're going to substitute the L for 6 inches, and we're going to substitute the W for 4 inches, and that'll give you 24 square inches. To check that, let's do our rows and columns. L will be columns, so we're going to cut this in half, and then we're going to cut this side into thirds, and then we're going to cut the other side into thirds, and there are your 6 columns. Going across, we're going to cut half horizontally, then we're going to cut this top half in half, and this bottom half in half, and there are our quarters. And if we count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 squares inside the rectangle. So we can confirm that it is 24 square units, or square inches in this case. So that's why, if it gives you a unit of measure, your perimeter will not have the little 2 on top, but your area will. And this can apply for any unit. It could be, like I said, inches, feet, yards, millimeters, centimeters, meters. It could be any of those units of measure when it comes to length. Now let's go ahead and do the other one. 6 centimeters. Well, perimeter is side length plus side length plus side length plus side length. And if we remember correctly, since this is a square, all our side lengths are the same. So basically every S converts to a 6. That should be plus. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 would give me 24 inches. That's our perimeter. Area will be, again, side length times side length. So it's basically 6 times 6, which would give me, 36. This should be centimeters. I apologize for that. Centimeters squared, square centimeters. Now to check that, split your side length here into columns. So I got 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Cut in half. There's that one. And there's that. So you have 6 on one side, 6 on the other. And I go in groups of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36 square centimeters. That is area and perimeter. This will be able to help you better understand what was going on. I know during the Zoom video sometimes it got blurry or the little squares got a little bit chopped off because in Zoom, when I give someone the floor to ask a question, it makes their screen pop up. I got to figure out how to fix that. So I'm going ahead and making this for you so that way you have another way to see area and perimeter. So like I said, if you have any questions, contact me on Class Dojo, ask me in Google Classroom on the Classroom blog, and I will talk to you guys soon.